Hello and welcome to the SFCA podcast. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho and everywhere in between. Miami is a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Welcome. Fall is finally here, but it doesn't feel like it. I don't know why. It's still hot. Before we begin, I want to give a big thank you to all that have written and have come in contact with me, either via email or in person or even via phone. We truly appreciate creating this monthly forum to inform and entertain. A special thank you to Andrew for all your information, all your data, all your fun facts. And Ceci, you were amazingly informative, as well as all the things at South Beach. If you have any suggestions or comments, feel free to email me. Happy Yom Kippur to our Jewish community. May you have an amazing year. Congratulations to our Miami Dolphins on the historic win yesterday. If you didn't see it, against the Denver Broncos, 70 points. Came so close to the record NFL Redskins Giants game back in 1966, where the score was 72-41. This past week, I had the pleasure of recognizing 4 concierges and 1 sponsor at the Concierge of the Year Award, the White Glove Awards, which Ceci was part of the panel. Thank you very much, Ceci, for your great judgment. We had 21 candidates, amazing candidates across the entire spectrum. I do want to congratulate the Concierges of the Year, though. Congratulations to Eduardo Rossello. He got the Lifetime Achievement Award. He worked at the Intercontinental Miami. Charlie Fines Garcia, Concierge of the Year from the Mondrian in South Beach. Ashley Clayson from the W South Beach. She got the up-and-coming Concierge of the Year. And Lynette Moreno, Concierge Affiliate of the Year from the Intercontinental in Doral. Thank you for joining us. We truly appreciate your continued support on this, our 40th Zoom call. It seems like only yesterday we just started. A special recognition to all of our sales teams, hotel managers, and support staff that are on the call. For those of you just joining us for the first time, as we share facts and figures on the stats of Florida's tourism, we want to make sure that we share all this entertaining information, and want to make sure that everybody's familiar with the chat feature. There you can ask questions throughout the call, as well as take part in the Q&A at the end, and we will be giving away some amazing merchandise. Andrew will be giving away a $50 gas card. Ceci will be giving away a $50 gas card. And Valerie has a special gift to give away, valued at over $300. To win, you got to listen to the question, be the first one to give the right answer on the chat, and that is it. Now, if you win once, can't win twice, you're disqualified from the other prizes, just to get everybody a fair chance. Introducing the panel, today we have Andrew Wobensmith, the man with all the facts and figures from the Greater Miami Convention and Visitor Bureau. We also have Ceci Velasco, Executive Director of the Ocean Drive Association, with all things South Beach. And our special guest this month is Valerie Roy, Director of Marketing and Client Strategy for the South Beach Seafood Festival.
The longer the title, the more you have to do, right?
I know. We'll give you an update on everything expected this year. So you don't know what you don't know, and we will find out shortly. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Valerie. Are you ready for your presentation?
Let's do it. Let's find out a little bit about the South Beach Seafood Festival. Let me just share my screen here. All right. Let's just X out of these notifications. Can you see my screen? We're all good?
We see it. We're ready to go.
Fantastic. So are we ready for stone crab season?
I am.
So am I, right? So South Beach Seafood Festival, crazy enough, it's been 11 years. This is our 11th anniversary. We're very excited to be back on the sand. We started this as a one-day. We didn't know what we were doing. I just loved Miami Beach. I'm from Miami Beach. I loved everything to do with the area, and I wanted to do a big event. And my husband thought I was nuts. And so I took my, background of being at the chamber for a long time, and we brought together. My first stop was obviously to Joe's Stone Crab, start our, kickoff to Stone Crab season. And we had 6,000 people show up one day, 5 hours. It was a mess. I think my brother-in-laws were, bringing ice over, and it was crazy. 11 years later, we are at 4 days, 15,000 people, 90 million impressions for the event. It's one of the largest recurring events on South Beach. So our team has really put a lot of work in, and the purpose of it is to celebrate South Florida. So we're here to celebrate those perfect little hot spots, those chefs that you find in your local neighborhood. There's so many events that do amazing things to bring eyeballs to the area. We want to celebrate those that are here working hard to make sure that our culinary scene is perfect, and that local hotspot that you love in your neighborhood, we want to find them and we want to celebrate them. We've got some great national partners that help us to support this event and bring people in from all over the country, and then also our residents. So I'm going to walk everyone through just what the event's all about. I've got some great benefits that, you guys can share with your residents and your guests that are visiting. But first, there's nothing that says events like a great promo video. So I'll start off with what the week is going to look like this year. So that was a little taste of what's to come. So we start off the week. Of course, we start off at Joe's Stone Crab. So it's October 18th to the 21st. And we kick off with a few dinners during the week, and then we hit the sand on Friday and Saturday on Ocean Drive and Loomis Park from 10 to 14th. So Wednesday, October 18th, unfortunately, it's sold out already, but it is a private dinner that we do at Joe's Stone Crabs, freshest stone crabs of the season with Sonoma Cutrer. We get Chef Andre to come out. It's a beautiful evening to kick off the week. And then this might be my favorite night, although Ceci would say that the next night that I'm going to explain is her favorite night. So this night is at the Kimpton Surfcomber, our host hotel for the week. And Thursday, October 19th, it's called Crabs, Slabs, and Cabs. And if you can say it 10 times fast, then you get a prize. You get even more of a prize today. So our friends from Goya come together. They bring 6 chefs that collaborate on the ultimate surf and turf night. So this is a sit down 5-course dinner with wine pairings for each course. So we've got Chef Mendine from Pub Belly and Diego Oca from Lamar at the Mandarin. We've got Sean Brazel from Meat Market, Carlos Garcia from La Q at the Rebel Museum, and Giorgio Rabicavoli from Luca and Eating House. And I'm sure many of you have eaten at these locations, all of them together collaborating on the ultimate surf and turf night. I'll just tell you, it is the best night of the week. It is a formal sit down. We've got national wines that come in like Rombauer and Penfolds. And so we've got some great brands that come and pair with the dinner, DJ dancing, but it is the time where you can buy a table of 10 or just come with a few friends and we put everyone together. There's rounds of 10 and have a really awesome, unique dinner that all the chefs collaborate on together. So that is a very cool night. Tickets for that night are $250, and we sit under the stars back in their beach club, and it's just a beautiful evening. But the best night of the week is when we hit the sand. So Friday, October 20th is the Chef Showdown. The Chef Showdown is, I think it's been coined as the ultimate beach bash to hit the sand. So it is, this year we have the most chefs ever. We usually go with about 7 chef battles, which correlates to about 14 chefs. We have 23 chefs competing in 11 different battles. It's high energy, it's fun, there's DJ, there's dancing, the aerial, and I'm going to show you guys a video. But guests get to walk in, they get chips, they go to the different battle stations, they vote on battle taco, battle tuna, battle surf and turf, whatever it may be. They sip, they sample. from one chef, they'll sample from another, and then they vote on which ones they love the best. And then they take the stage, and it's like Food Network live. So you've got them battling out, and there's entertainment that comes out with these chefs. I've seen robots, mariachi bands, samurai swords. Every restaurant goes all out to celebrate who they are. So that event always sells out every year. It is definitely a hotspot. It typically sells out the week before the event, usually around there, and tickets are selling like crazy. They're $160. The event starts at 12th and Ocean, and it's about 2 blocks long. And I'll give you a little sneak peek on what it's going to look like this year.
You've waited long enough. Everyone's favorite chef showdown is back.
Get ready for the biggest chef lineup this festival has ever seen.
Get ready for all of your favorite battles. Taco, salmon, surf and turf, sushi, crab, shrimp, ceviche, oyster, tuna, fusion sushi, caviar.
This is one chef showdown. Don't want to miss.
Choose your champ.
Amazing chefs, amazing seafood. We'll see you there. Get your tickets now at SoapySeafoodFest.com.
Miguel, was that music playing?
Very faint in the back. It was like cutting in and out. I guess we have a connection issue. That's okay. We'll share the deck with everyone after, and then they can see it firsthand.
Okay. Well, anyway, it is the best night. It's very high energy, fun. And all the chefs go all out. And what the best part of this year, I would say, is that there are chefs from all over South Florida. We've got Palmetto Bay, Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, Miami Beach, of course, Ocean Drive, Deerfield, Pompano. So we really hit the gamut on that. And then we finally get to the main day, the reason that we started this all, which is Saturday's festival. It runs from 14th Street all the way to 10th in Loomis Park. This is our full event site. We've got pop-up cafes from different restaurants. So you'll see they're serving unbelievable dishes. And then we've got live music and DJs and dancing and a VIP village that's 2 blocks long with Goya Culinary Pavilion. That's always a hotspot. So really what Saturday does is give a chance. For example, every ticket includes open bar and complimentary cocktails, but your GA ticket, these restaurants build these pop-up cafes, and everything's between $5 and $10. They're all shareable plates, and you 3 or 4 items you share, with your friends, and you're really tasting some of the best food across South Florida versus just your typical, sampling experience. And then if you're a VIP ticket holder, you get vouchers included for your restaurant cafe. You also have about 15 to 20 other restaurants that are sampling in VIP with a lot of national wine suppliers. So there's plenty to do, a lot of fun to be had. I wanted to just give you a little glimpse of, there's about 60 South Florida restaurants participating. This is not the full list, but this is where we are to date across the week. So between restaurants, dessert partners, we have a little of everyone, which I think is exciting, and from everywhere. Here's some of our sponsors to date. We really try to bring in a lot of national brand partners that help make this happen. It's not easy to put in an event these days, especially with the world and how it is. And so we're very grateful to have a really great lineup of brands that help us put this on. And then why do we do this? We do this, one, to celebrate these South Florida chefs, but there is a beneficiary component to this that we love. We created a program 10 years ago called Eat Smart. And what we do is we create different programming in Miami-Dade County public schools with food pantries, with chef seminars, with fitness programs, fitness camps throughout the year, depending on what gets raised every year. And our goal is ultimately to create programming that teaches kids at a young age how to eat smart, be smart, and ultimately live smart. So not only are you having a great week, we're celebrating South Florida, we're celebrating Miami Beach, we're bringing amazing people to the sands of South Beach, but we're having fun and doing it for a good cause. So some of the benefits that we have for you all, if you're interested. So everyone has residents or guests that are coming in, staying at your hotels. We have great discount promo codes that you can share with your residents and guests. We can create a specialty flyer for you. We can send you the videos to share on your email blast or on social media. And of course, you know, we always want to make sure you all attend and speak, can enjoy the event and speak proudly. So there are tickets that come along with helping us spread the word. But, you know, I'm happy to, and you could take a screenshot of this. We'll share the presentation afterwards, but anyone can email us at the email below. And then me or Lauren on our team will make sure that you get all the information. We can create a dedicated promo code so we can track who your guests are that are coming, and really enjoy an event. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know we're really excited to hit the sand again. And I think the biggest thing for this year is more chefs, more restaurants, more celebration of all of South Florida. And we're excited to be back. I know I saw some questions along the way. If we want to answer a few, or do we want to hop in? Because I've got a really good trivia question and I got some tickets to give away because that's the best part of the whole thing.
Let's answer the questions first. I know we had a sound issue. My apologies. We'll take care of that after. We'll be sending you the full deck. I don't see any questions unless I'm missing something.
I saw someone raise their hand. So
yeah, Daniel raised his hand. I asked if he had a question. Daniel, feel free to ask on the chat if you have any question. By all means, we're here to answer it. And again, if a question comes to mind later on in the show, you're more than welcome to ask it. Valerie will be here on the until the end, so she'll be more than happy to ask it. So I guess the anticipation is just what is the prize and what is the question? I guess there are no questions referring to the festival.
Yeah. So let's do a trivia. And we are giving away 2 VIP tickets to Saturday's festival, which is a value of $320. And our trivia question, because we are celebrating stone crab season, why are Florida stone crabs one of the most sustainable things you can eat?
They can be regrown.
Did someone answer that?
I'm giving this regrown. They're seasonal. They have one arm. Claw can regrow.
So they rejuvenate their claw. They regenerate their claw every year. So it gives a chance for the stone crab doesn't have to die as we're pulling a claw off. They can rejuvenate. It takes 1 year for them to regenerate their claw back, and then they're back to living their fabulous life with their 2 claws.
Cool. So Katie was the first one. They said they can be regrown. Congratulations, Katie. You have won. Yay. Good for you, Katie. So Katie Galaka, we will reach out to you, Katie, and get you those tickets. So get ready. You've got your VIP tickets ready to go.
Yes.
Hold on. We do have a question and answer. Let me see. Answer live. Okay. A few answered on the question and answer, not the chat. We're going to see if there's anyone else. No. Very well.
Well, we're very excited to be back and, kick off the season in October before it gets very busy and bring all these chefs and everyone together to celebrate. It's about the community. So we want everyone to come out and enjoy themselves.
Thank you, Valerie. You know, your energy comes right through. It truly does. You can tell how excited I got excited by listening to you. So congratulations on that.
Event of the year, I have to say.
And again, if anybody's wondering, you want to tell them, well, the first thing I noticed when you came on the show was that interesting object on your wall. You want to talk about it?
Sure. So we produce a series of fishing tournaments with Coach Jimmy Johnson from the Dallas Cowboys and Hard Rock. And this is our 10th anniversary guitar. We are in year 13. It is there's a $1 million guarantee, $2 million payout every year. It happens in March across South Florida. You can fish from the Keys all the way to Palm Beach. And then we now are in Atlantic City also in the summer. So we have a good series. We pay out about 4 to 5 million in prize money every year. It's high stakes competitive sport fishing. But of course, when you partner with Hard Rock, you have awesome guitars, right?
Oh, definitely.
So
Great. Well, thank you very much for the information. And now, Andrew, I guess you're on. You're a bit challenged because you got a tough act to follow. Are you ready?
Yes, and that is true. I think it's pretty hard to follow that. I wouldn't normally eat seafood for breakfast, but I could consider that today.
Why not? Why not? Before you start, Andrew, I know we'd spoken backstage prior to the show regarding the economy. As I mentioned to you, I've noticed a lot of airfares have dropped. The other day I was searching for something, and oddly enough, I found tickets, not one airline, but a few airlines. They were giving tickets from Miami to New York for less than $100 round trip. And then from Miami to LA for about $200. So maybe things are starting to somewhat normalize. We shall see. Andrew, go ahead and give your presentation. Let's see if we can find some more questions in it.
Sure, and that's good. Maybe I would, bring some answers next month. I do know, just offhand, I can think of maybe one or two reasons why that might be. We've definitely increased capacity. Maybe they're trying to attract more people for flights. I got to tell you, you're making me think about 4 years ago, right before the pandemic. I went up north to Pennsylvania, where I'm from, in December, and I booked a flight a couple of days in advance with Spirit, and it was $68 round trip to go to Pennsylvania and back. But when I got there, I got off the plane. It was 17 degrees out. I realized why they only cost $68 at that time of year. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or not, but that was my experience. So
probably.
But yeah. So that said, thank you, folks. This is my 25th time, I think, giving a presentation every month, and thank you everybody for coming and supporting us, and also those who are new. I will give you a rundown. My job here is to try to give you as much information about tourism in Miami as possible. A lot of this information, as Miguel has mentioned, you probably won't get anywhere else because it's stuff that we calculate or we get through subscriptions. So I'm happy to try to present to you what I think is the most relevant information for you to know. And we have a wide group of people here on this call. We have everybody from our restaurateurs to tour operators to hoteliers to, I see even our folks at the police department and the malls and everybody else. So I try to every month. What I don't want to do is for you to be bored, right? I don't want to wash, rinse, and repeat. I like to be able to give you different things every month, and you know what? Keep it interesting for myself too. So that said, let's talk about tourism. Well, so this article, local economics say that there's a recession that's probably going to come, followed by expansion. Every month, as you folks know, I try to share some different viewpoints on the economy, on these different things that I think are affecting us. And there's a lot of different viewpoints out there. So today I'm going to share two that are somewhat conflicting. But in this case, this comes from actually from a company that's local in Coral Gables. And they had mentioned that U.S. economic indicators are saying, well, expansion through the end of this year. But as they mentioned, as we've talked about many times, elevated interest rates and this consumer debt burden that's going on is likely going to lead to a recession that we had originally thought about was going to be the end of this year. But by some measures, it's like it could be the beginning of this next year. But then this economist is predicting that after the first half of the year, that we should see some expansion and recovery in the final 6 months of 2024. We do know that there is some improvement going on right now with economic indicators. It's a little mixed, I will say that. But in this case, in this person's report, that's what they're saying. We do know that there are interest rates that are putting a damper on spending and some other things. But that said, spending is still in a lot of areas still strong. So we do know there are factors such as inflation, which we all know has been taking a bite out of our pocketbooks. However, and I'm sort of mentioning something off of this, but it relates to this. Wages never rise as fast as inflation, right? So inflation goes up, our wages they don't follow at the same rate. However, they do go up. It just takes longer. So some economists are saying that that's going to actually help us, even though people are really strapped financially. People's wages are starting to go up, so therefore will free up some additional money to spend. But again, as they're saying here, this economist says that consumer spending growth is projected to slow. So we will see how it goes. This is just certainly one economist, and a lot of economists, they say, hey, they want to be wrong, right? Because we'd rather see this economy perform better than maybe not so great. So this is one economist's opinion. Here's another one. Hotel executives were talking about this. They say travel budgets could decrease, but this economist says he doesn't think a recession is going to happen at all. He says that, and there are some reasons he cites as to why it is he doesn't think it's going to happen. So everybody acknowledges that there's a lot of consumer debt out there, and it's at a record high. There's already been reports and data that suggests that there's decreased spending in lodging and food services. And then when you adjust for inflation, it actually becomes even more pronounced. So as they're saying here, it doesn't mean that there's going to be a recession. And as I've actually mentioned this before in the last year, some of the reasons why it is economists say we're not going to have a recession. And this person says the same thing. He says you can't have a full employment recession. So everybody talks about the job market as being very strong. And that is one of the main reasons why they're saying, well, how can you have a recession when everybody's employed, still making money and spending money? So, in this case, they're saying, yes, people will cut back on spending. Yes, it will have an effect on the economy, but in this person's belief, that won't happen. Now, I have obviously said some statements in the past. I think that the job numbers are not necessarily the strongest thing to talk about what's going on right now. What I didn't share is that actually I was looking at another article. The jobs reports are always revised every month, right? They release it and they say this is many jobs, but this year they've actually downgraded every month. They have actually gone back and revised the job numbers going down. The other thing to think about here is that these jobs numbers may be higher, but there's actually a lot more part-time jobs being added than full-time jobs. So you can take for that what you will. It's not full-time jobs that are being added. So keep that in mind when you're looking at job numbers. Understand that's not the full number, is not the full picture. So, however, in this case, this is what they're saying. That they do also agree that there will be a dip in hotel performance, but they don't expect it to be really a big deal. Retail, I've talked about retail because this is obviously very important. It's related to the spend, right? Spend and also people's employment. So what they're saying, these retailers right now are not so bullish about this coming holiday season. They are saying that they are planning to hire less seasonal workers, a lot less as compared to last year. According to them, a 26% decline. So let me back up. U.S. retailers added just over 500,000 jobs in the last quarter of 2022. Now they're saying, more like, thousands, right? So they are not really optimistic about hiring. I think that they're seeing some slowdown. They're very hesitant. And so, we'll just see what happens here. There's some turbulent times right now. In some areas, we do see some recessionary measures. We do know also when it comes to the way people spend money, people spend money on retail and they spend money on services, and travel is a service. So just because retail is going down, it doesn't necessarily say that travel is going to go down. It just means that maybe people might be shifting their dollars to something else, as we talked about in the past. So in the pandemic, we bought our sofas, automobiles, and all those expensive things. And so now we don't need Pelotons anymore, and maybe we'd rather travel. So I think that's probably what is still going to hold things up. And finally here, this was a really eye-opener for me. And so there was recently a presentation given for us on another call. You may have seen some of this information, but I'm sharing it again because if you didn't see it, you might really be surprised here. Price-sensitive shoppers, they may actually change their destination based solely on the cost of their booking their hotel. And that's what this article suggests, that could be a very big factor for people when they're looking to where they're going to go. So what they're saying here is that at the top here, I thought it was interesting, nearly half of the markets are seeing rate growth in excess of that of inflationary growth. So the rates are rising faster than inflation. So therefore, this becomes a little bit more difficult for people, once again, to afford lodging. So consumers with the same budget that they had in 2019, even adjusted for inflation, are not able to afford the same hotels that they could a year ago. So they suggest that travelers could be trading down, meaning they're compromising part of their trip in some way. They may choose a lower tier hotel. Last month, we talked about some of the performance of hotels in Miami that may actually lend to this, as we saw some more notable declines in ADRs among our luxury properties as opposed to economy. So while I don't think people are downgrading from a luxury property to an economy property, this could certainly be a factor here in Miami. Also, something that I thought was really interesting, and this article calls us out specifically. They said location was also a factor in whether travelers booked at a higher class of hotel or sought to save on the rate. And they mentioned here that the shift of demand here in Miami-Dade County in May through May actually shifted from Miami Beach to downtown. Now, this was interesting to me because I know here in our organization, our finance department looks at this quite strongly because of where our funding comes from. And they could tell you that too. They could say that when rates get really high in Miami Beach, you start to see some spillover in downtown Miami. So in this case, our market in downtown Miami gained a 3% demand share over Miami Beach. So very interesting as compared to 2019. Even to me, even more interesting, Expedia. This person, Kevin Sahara, was quoted from Expedia. And of course, Expedia has a full view of the data, right? So they know when somebody comes on their website, searches for a flight to a destination, they will also know what other flights they're searching for, as well as what they actually select. So from Expedia, what they were saying that customers who consider hotels in Miami Beach were willing to expand their search, even outside the city, to places that aren't even beach destinations. And they suggested possibly to save on room rate and to put their trim budget, in other places. So as I quote at the bottom here, if they looked at Miami Beach and clicked and booked somewhere else, where did they go? Well, some of them went to Miami or downtown Miami or Fort Lauderdale. That's probably not a surprise for some of us. But as they said, this is where it got a little weird, and it went to Orlando, right? So now this is not even a beach vacation anymore. We're going to Disney or Key West or some other areas. So something to consider, that people really are price sensitive. We talked about this every month, but this is just some more information to sort of back that up, that it could just be even hotel rates or some other factors in the market. Global visa estimated wait times. I shared this slide a couple months ago, back in June, to talk about those markets that are being most impacted by delays on visa processing to the United States. And then what I did is I pulled the information again a week ago and compared the rank, and I compared the number of days, whether they have improved or not improved. And really the biggest finding here is that compared to a couple of months ago, Colombia has improved a little bit, but not really so much issue because we still have lots of Colombian visitors. But Mexico is actually decreased quite a bit. Qualitatively, everything I hear about Mexico, I do have something quantitative to share with you. It sounds to me like actually there's a lot more demand coming out of Mexico. So as a result, they're actually seeing a reversal in the number of days to get a visa. It's getting a little worse for them. But really the biggest takeaway here and the biggest bright spot here is that for months and months, we've been plagued by wait times for Brazil. In many cases, it's been well over a year for Brazilians, or up to 2 years even, for them to be able to get a new visa to come to the United States. This has been a real big issue, but we have seen a lot of improvement. As you can see here, for example, down the list, what was number 10 in June is now way down in terms of the ranking to Sao Paulo, Brazil. It went from 615 days to 169 days, an improvement of over a year. So that is really great news here. And you can see some other Brazilian cities here on this same chart. I think one really, wow, Porto Alegre went from 25 to 207. So you want to go down in rank, right? So they went from 507 days estimated wait time to 1 day. So clearly something good is going on there. They are certainly processing them. I know our government has worked on legislation to improve this. And by all accounts, it looks like it's doing really well. So the bright news here is that Brazil has now have more ability to get to the United States. Adding on some air capacity, which is going to be good for us at MIA. They have been steadily growing. We can see here in that September, we're going to have more flights from Norway as well as England. Following in October, Sweden, Denmark, and then after that, Finland. So Scandinavian areas are coming back. And then in December, to round out the year, Paris, France, and Berlin, Germany, as well as daily round-trip flights, more daily round-trip flights to Toronto. And then next year, we see some other airlines, Level Airlines and Condor Airlines, that will be adding capacity from Spain and Germany, respectively. And then American Airlines, if that wasn't enough good information, enough good news, I should say, American Airlines has announced that they are increasing a lot of destinations and MIA starting in December. And you'll see here that a lot of destinations in Latin America, the Caribbean, are increasing quite dramatically. For example, on Barranquilla, Colombia, they're increasing to 2 daily flights. Cartagena, 3 daily flights, and some areas of Mexico, 6 daily flights. So they have certainly jumped up capacity and certainly seem very optimistic about the end of the year and adding these destinations. This is some information I've never shared before. Had to get permission actually before I share this with you folks because it comes from us internally. Looking at our website traffic and where people are coming from who are hitting our website is a good way to understand where that demand is coming from, and it actually supports a lot of our numbers. So certainly I use it here. And while you see that the majority of people who come to our website are from the United States, you see that our top ranking markets, which are also pretty close to what they would be in terms of visitation, Canada, Brazil, Germany, the UK, and so forth. And you can see that we have made a lot of strides in our website traffic with these markets. So as an example, Canada, the increase from, and this is the period of August 1st till last week, Canada has gone up 47%, Brazil up 35%. Quite striking down here closer, Mexico, and I just mentioned that they're looking like there's a lot of increased demand in Mexico. Well, this would support that. This would say that our website activity, our users, has jumped dramatically, 86% year over year. So they are without a doubt hitting our website. And then you can just really see, I sometimes look at share and see what does a share of visitors look like. So actually domestic has fallen just a tiny bit, and those increases are really among our top visitor markets. So this is all very good news, folks. To the right there, these are some of the hottest links on our website. Messi, that's probably no surprise that people are looking to find out more about Messi and about our destination, but also some of the programs that we run, such as Miami Spice, which everybody here is quite familiar, hotel months and so forth. So these are some of the big drivers to our website, but are certainly not inclusive of everything. Looking at our air and seaports, I'm comparing MIA versus our neighbors to the north, Fort Lauderdale. For those of you that may not know this, in Fort Lauderdale's airport is a contributor of tourism to Miami. About 1 in 5 people coming out of that airport are going to come into Miami. So that is not nothing. That's 20%, give or take, of people coming in there. So we look at them as well as MIA. And what we can tell you to the left there, up the top, the first set of tables are air. The second set would be cruise. And the first set is telling you to the left, the MIA is doing very well. Certainly from last year, total volume from January to June up 3%. However, it's domestic that's actually starting to drop after a record year last year. So this is the first 6 months of this year. International has steadily improved, down a little bit still from 2019, but all told, the volume has been for yearly has been up. Fort Lauderdale on the other side is improving from last year, but has still not caught up to 2019. Now looking at the bottom, looking at our port activity, Port Miami has done phenomenal. The first 6 months of this year, they hit 4 million, essentially 4 million cruise passengers. That is a 100.0% increase versus 2022 and 9% above pre-pandemic levels, our best year ever at that point in time. Port Everglades is also picking up quite dramatically, but again, much like their airport, they're not picking up quite as well as they should or would like to versus 2019. And then a breakdown of these arrivals to MIA, because I think there's something going on here that I wanted to share with you folks. It's been a little different these last couple weeks as opposed to what we've been sharing. And what we see here is we're actually seeing some decreased volumes going on at the airport from both international and domestic. So domestic, yes, we've been seeing that, but the international, we did not see so much. So what we are seeing is the international arrivals are starting to dip a little bit more as opposed to last year. Not by a lot, but by more recently, we see there really in the last couple of weeks where we started to see just a slight dip in terms of international arrivals. From a domestic arrival standpoint, yeah, we've seen this quite a while where we are not keeping up to the pace that we had last year. Again, granted, last year was a record year. We can see here that this activity has started to level off a little bit, but we are still trending somewhat below what we were last year over the last series of weeks. Now, this I think is really instructive because this is going to tell us where we've been at in terms of passenger activity from the beginning of this month. Because I think this is really, if you look to the left here, starting at the beginning of September, looking at that total volume of passengers coming into MIA, that's arrivals and departures, we see that in the beginning of the month, we were trending above last year. And then starting on Wednesday, November 6th, we can see that the overall volume has gone down. And that is definitely a trend. That's definitely not 1 or 2 days. That has been going on for the last couple of weeks. And where's that being driven? Well, it is, again, being driven by the domestic part of volume. And see that there on the right when it comes to arrivals. Yes, the arrivals have started to go down domestically, but even some days international. So as we mentioned, there has been a little bit more weakness in the very, very, last several weeks. So this is something we're going to watch. I think it's very interesting because it also happens to trend with hotel demand and many other things that go on in our market. And then looking at monthly occupancy for hotel and short-term rental, on the top here, you see this line chart. It's just simply showing the last 12 months of occupancy, average daily occupancy in our hotels. And then the red line would be our short-term rentals, and that would be inclusive of everything here. To the right is a percent change for both. I wanted to point this out that we have seen decreasing occupancy year over year on both fronts, on both hotel and short-term rentals. As you can see to the right, hotel really since February, short-term rentals also, but keep something in mind here. While we may be seeing 10, 12% decreases in occupancy for short-term rentals year over year, their inventory has increased dramatically. Right now they're running almost 20% higher in terms of inventory than they were a year ago. So actually, if you took out that effect of the inventory, you would be seeing a positive demand story and a positive occupancy story here. So short-term rentals are essentially performing a little bit better. Certainly now at the bottom here, the rate is really where it's at. So we can see here that actually on the short-term rental side, their rates have been improving. And as we know, if you're a hotelier, you already know your rates are not improving versus last year, again, a record year. But it appears to us from where I'm standing based on the data that I have, that short-term rentals are performing stronger. I hate to say that sometimes, but it's true. And that could also be economic. People could be coming here, having a family of people. Obviously, when you have a family, it could certainly save you a couple dollars if you pick a rental as opposed to a hotel. And then looking at our Florida markets to understand how are we doing versus our competitors, I would consider to be some of our biggest competitors, certainly at certain times of the year. So as we can see across the top here, and this is not a surprise, that just about everybody in Florida is having a dip in occupancy and certainly ADR. While there are some bright areas, for example, in certain areas like Tampa, they did see a little bit of bump in their ADR and RevPAR, but many other areas like us and Orlando are certainly not keeping up to last year. And that's to be expected. But really, if you go further over to the columns to the right, looking at the number of rooms sold is really that pure determinant of where that demand, are we seeing an increase or decrease? Last month, Miami-Dade County saw about a 2% decrease. Fort Lauderdale saw actually a bump up a little bit. Other areas, as you can see, that are really telling, like Fort Myers, we know why. Fort Myers has been impacted. A lot of their supply is not available or not able to be rented. So you see that there's a deficiency there. But to the far right here, I want to mention, sometimes I look at this analysis. When something happens in Florida, one of the things that we like to do is look at the share of total hotel room demand, because that will tell you something about who is winning in this battle of share sometimes versus who isn't. So in this case, a lot of times I look at it like when there's sargassum or something going on in a certain area to say, okay, we know that an area is being impacted, but are they choosing to go somewhere else in our state? And if so, it's possible that they're going to other areas. And we can see here that actually our demand, our share of demand actually picked up a little bit, as well as Fort Lauderdale. And you can see that Fort Myers is down quite a bit. Daytona, Melbourne, and so forth are also down. So maybe we are a winner when it comes to the share. And then looking ahead 90 days here, looking at the reserved occupancy for hotel, and then on the bottom, short-term rentals, we see that the occupancy, the reserved occupancy year over year is a little choppy for hotel, and certainly we get into October. So I guess keep that in mind if you're having some soft periods. If you're a hotelier, if you're seeing this in your hotel, then you see that this is certainly not your problem. It's lots of other people's problems too. However, if you're a hotel that's outperforming, then hey, good for you. Short-term rentals, as I mentioned to you, is performing quite well. Although as you get closer and closer, the booking window has changed a little bit. So we see it's further out right now. People are planning and they're booking further out for short-term rentals. But as it gets closer, the pace is not necessarily holding up to last year. So just about it here, almost done. But looking at the hotel forecast, I shared, and I have more information I can share with you if you reach out to me afterwards. But looking at the hotel forecast perspective, looking at the U.S. and then comparing to Miami, we know that we sort of peaked early. And if you could look down those columns in 2021 and 22, we were clearly winning, especially in terms of occupancy, while the rest of the country just sort of lagged. Miami just grew leaps and bounds. Our rates were up dramatically. As a result, our RevPAR was doing really, really, really well. Demand was high. But then as we can see, it's tapered off. And this year, for 2023, we're not going to match ADR versus last year. Our occupancy is expected to be down a little bit. Demand is really maybe about 1% up. But if you look at the rest of the country, really the story here is coming up in the next year, we expect to be sort of flat in terms year over year, while the U.S., will lag a little bit in occupancy, they do expect to see some rate gain. So that is the story based upon the hotel forecast being shared by US Travel and STR. So in summary, right, we talked about here that the retail sector is not optimistic so much about sales. So again, not a surprise given what we know about economics. Rates could be a very big factor, hotel rates, and where people go. Recession fears that a lot of us have, economists don't agree, but again, we don't know if it will happen or how bad. If it does, it will probably happen in the beginning of this next year. International travel is picking up, as we can see. Air service is helping. And then finally, again, this is not negative, but we do see some evidence there's a potential downturn right now. So air passenger volumes, some of the hotel room demand has been going downwards. However, this is not unforeseen because our hotel forecast actually said that we should expect to see some down over last year, next 2 months. So I know a lot of information there I shared. Hopefully I can wrap this up. If anybody has any questions, this is my contact information here at the very end, and feel free to reach out.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Informative as always. Good stuff. Anyone have any questions now for Andrew? Before we go ahead and do the raffle or trivia question? No? Again, Andrew will be sharing the deck shortly. We'll give it to you with the post notes, and then feel free to reach out directly to Andrew if you have any questions or comments regarding the presentation. Andrew, real quick, I was hearing in the news that China has now opened travel to the U.S. Have those numbers increased?
Well, it has actually. They've actually they've been open for a while, but during the pandemic, their capacity, their air capacity went down to like nil. So they have been opening back up. As you know, China is not one of our top feeder markets by any stretch. We don't have air service to China, or so. As a result, we really don't see a lot of Chinese visitors, but that's certainly, I think, it could become a competitive issue when you have international markets that could be, choosing where to go. They may look at China. It may be cheaper, or it might be something they've been to the United States and may want to go over there. So we're seeing a lot of competition, both in the country and around the world.
Got it. Stephanie does have a question for you. What are your thoughts on the influence of Brightline finally opening?
Well, I actually almost shared some information about Brightline, but I had so much information that I couldn't really squeeze it in. But we know that they're now, running up to Orlando. To be quite honest with you, I don't know. I don't know, because I think people need to adopt it, right? I mean, there are definitely a lot of positives to using the Brightline. So, we'll see. I know Brightline has been, I used the word already, bullish, but they've been pretty bullish about what they say they're going to get in terms of passengers, and I hope that they're right, and I hope that they get that volume, but I know they have a very positive expectation on what they're going to be able to pull from tourists. And all we want is a little bit more of we want a little bit more of Orlando to come this way and a little less going to Miami.
True, or back and forth. I mean, that can happen as well. This could be their jumping off point, so to speak. But needless to say, I'm sure that time will tell what truly transpires as far as traffic. But if you haven't been on the Brightline trains, totally different than an Amtrak experience. It's bringing the train travel into the future. Finally, we can compete with other continents, Europe and Asia, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much, Andrew. Is there any way you can repeat the last bullet point of your summary from Wallace? I don't know what that bullet point was.
Well,
Wallace,
I'll share with you the deck so you can read it verbatim. But basically what I'm saying here is that we do think there is somewhat of a downturn going on right now here in our market because of our decreased air activity going on. We see a decreased volume of passengers at our airport, and we also do see a decreased the number of rooms being sold year over year. Now, this is not unforeseen. Actually, as I mentioned, our hotel forecast suggested that we would be down in terms of the number of rooms sold for this month and next month. So they're right? They're right. So we will see. Actually, STR predicted that this month we'd be down about 5% in demand. I didn't put it in my deck, but that's what they're saying. I don't think it's going to be any worse than that.
Okay, and the room rate is still
the room rate
increasing as well.
No, it's not going to be increasing. I would not expect to see
but
that.
Will it be decreasing, or will it stay stagnant?
It's going to decrease.
Decrease as well? Okay.
I believe so. Yeah.
Very well. Ready for your trivia question for a $50 gas card?
All right, folks. Well, if you were paying attention, U.S. visa wait times. I talked about different markets and how well they're doing, and that we know. Don't jump in the gun here.
Wow, we didn't even ask the question.
I'm glad
We're talking mind readers here.
Okay, I'm going to wait till they're done. So There
Change
is
the
one
question.
market- I almost have changed the question, right?
Yeah, you didn't even answer the question.
I didn't even ask the question yet, right? Yes, we know there's some markets there that are improving. There is one city there that went from wait times of over 1 year to 1 day. Which city was it?
Oh, that wasn't Brazil, that's for sure. It was Brazil, but it was a city in Brazil. What's a city?
Porto Alegre.
Porto Alegre. There we go. Mila Torres. You are correct. And I guarantee you Mila is probably Brazilian because I would have never remembered that ever. Okay. Congratulations, Mila. We will get you that gas card. Enjoy it. Thank you, Andrew, for all the great information. Appreciate it. And now we've saved the best for last. See, we packaged the best in the front with Valerie, and then in the middle with Seth, and the end was Ceci, and then just Andrew and I just linger in between somehow. So Ceci, welcome back. We missed you last month. You've got a lot of information to share with us, so take it away.
It's a speed round. So thank you so much for including me in your white glove concierge of the year. And I chaired that committee for the second year, and always happy to contribute my time to what you all do because it's so important to our industry throughout the city. It's the backbone of everything that we do. Valerie, I'm so happy to be with Valerie. She's one of my favorite people. She put this seafood festival concept that she had so long ago, and I'm so proud of her for doing this festival. It is one of the festivals that really highlights the local restaurant, the local industry. A lot of the festivals come into town and they're looking at things from all over the world, and this is such an opportunity for the people in Miami and South Florida to be highlighted through the Seafood Festival. I'm really proud of her for doing this. It just keeps getting better and better every year. I think they're nationally recognized, right, as one of the biggest food festivals in the country. Who would have thought, sitting behind that little computer at the chamber, that you would have been
Who would have thought? Well, we're here today.
I did. I knew it would happen. Anyway, really quickly, the Seafood Festival is going to be something coming into Ocean Drive in the Lummis Park area. But so for concierge reasons, so that you can, share that with your guests, I want to start really with Lincoln Road pedestrianization because it's so important. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's certainly something that we need to get behind. We keep looking at what's happening tomorrow, next week. How can we do this? But this is something that is on the long-term urban planning scope that we should be looking at. They're looking at those 2 blocks, or actually it's almost 3 blocks, 100, 200, and 300 blocks of Lincoln Road that is open to traffic. It's where the bus station is. If you're not sending anybody over there as concierges. It is one of the most blighted blocks, 3 blocks in the city of Miami Beach, and it doesn't need to be. Our Lincoln Road needs to be elevated by pedestrianizing that all the way to the beach walk. So if you can think about how much money and time we put into developing that beach walk, and how much money and time we put into the convention center hotel, which is or the convention center, which is filling our hotels, the convention center hotel, which is going to elevate the kinds of conventions that we can bring here. And then we see that break in the flow, right? Why do I care from Ocean Drive? Because who's going to stay in my Ocean Drive boutique hotels if they can't walk comfortably all the way up to the convention center? So this is really important, and we need to get behind this. I presented to the Historic Preservation Board for that discussion. So when you hear about this, please support it, and because it will be coming your way, and it will be part of our industry buzz, and it will be part of the conversations that we're having. So don't think just because it's not there tomorrow that it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has a lot to do with you and elevating that area that used to be an attraction and a destination in and of itself, Lincoln Road. It didn't just used to be shopping. So it needs that help. I'm trying to get all of the stakeholders in our industry to really put their heads around what that could mean to us. Additionally, Nikki Beach, as you know, there's an RFP that the city of Miami Beach sent out, and there are proposals that are out there that's going to be heard on Wednesday. The city of Miami Beach is recommending. Definitely what you're going to see is a change in that area. It's going to be a beautiful elevated area with a beach concession. The city is deciding who's going to get that proposal right now. All indications prove that the city manager is recommending the Boucher brothers and the Carbone partnership for that out of the RFP. So we're going to see some beautiful things happening in South Beach and in the south of Fifth area. I went Friday to ARC. I'm going to put it in the chat. But I went to the Arctic House. The Arctic House is 730 Collins. 730 Collins. The Arctic House. If you haven't been there, they are right now have the show is called Magentaverse, and what they're doing is they're showing the magenta is the new Pantone color, and it's really spectacular. I went because it's in my district, and I thought, well, I'm going to go. When I walked in, we thought of a million different things that we could be doing here. I went with somebody from FIU, the composer, who said we could be doing, this wonderful intermersive music type of thing. They have an intermersive projection area. They have its sensitivity to motion detection. Really interesting. And you know why? Because we're in rainy season. And when it rains, people ask you, where do I go? It used to be, for me, the World Erotic Art Museum. But now I would suggest everybody send people over to the Arctic House at, again, 730 Collins. It's really a beautiful space. People can walk around and eat lunch or dinner. And it's something different that you're not going to find anywhere. They have partnered with Lenovo, with NASA. It's really kind of a fun house, but for adults and open thinkers. I mean, it partners with all of our museums that we have, but it's something truly different that they're not going to experience anywhere else. Then Halloween, of course, is coming up on Lincoln Road. That is the traditional place that everybody goes. Get your seats someplace to sit at the Sidewalk Cafe so you can see the entertainment going, by with all the interesting costumes. They're again going to have bars and music and DJs going on at the intersections. So that's a wonderful thing. And Valerie reminded me that there's a Halloween marathon on October 28th on Ocean Drive, going all the way down to south of 5th and beyond. You're going to see that. I'll post everything on the oceandrivearts.com page that the GMCBB hosts for us. So it's a one-stop shop that you can see everything happening in pretty much the Ocean Drive in the district area. But there is that marathon. Collins Park is going to have New Year's Eve concert with a symphony on New Year's Eve with fireworks. And Ocean Drive is going to have their historic concert on New Year's Day. So it's the following day, but we have the midnight fireworks as well. The New Year's Day concert is hosted by the city of Miami Beach, and it's part of their Miami Beach on-stage programming. Again, oceandrivearts.com is where you'll find all of this information. If not today, eventually we'll be posting everything there. We look at, because New Year's Eve is a Sunday night, New Year's Day is Monday. We're actually looking at doing the cafe expansions on Ocean Drive, which we have only done for either 2 nights or 3 nights. We're looking at doing it for 4 days and create a full weekend of cafe extensions, al fresco dining, ocean front. It will be beautiful. So this is what I'm in the middle of planning right now with the South Beach fireworks happening at midnight on New Year's Eve. It's always spectacular. We love providing this to our residents as well, because if you are anywhere in the area, you can see it from your hotels, and find a friend who has a balcony and spend New Year's Eve there so you can see the spectacular fireworks on South Beach. If you're lucky enough, you can see it on both ends, the Biscayne Bay part and the Ocean Drive South Beach part. Beautiful fireworks that will be coming up. During the month of December, so the city of Miami Beach had a GeoBond for arts and culture, and one of those pieces of the GeoBond is going to the Miami Beach Classical Music Festival to purchase and projection equipment, immersive projection equipment. You might be seeing this a lot. It's the immersive Van Gogh, it's the immersive this or that. What we're going to be doing is a festival of lights on Ocean Drive throughout the month of December. So it's going to be 4 days in 3 different places. Takes a lot of setup to do. They're going to project right on the hotel. It's going to be Disney with singing, with beautiful projection of all these different kind of artistic things. It's similar to something that was done in France. It's very similar to what they do in Chicago at the Merchandise Mart. I'm excited about seeing this. I'm in the process of putting all this together in a special event permit situation, and we'll be sending that out because if we can start doing this Festival of Lights this year, it will be a tradition that will bring people from all over the world. I'm very, very excited about this. People will be coming into Lomas Park and seeing these beautiful, and it's very family friendly. A lot of music happening at the same time, so it will be scheduled. So that's what's coming up. Then we also continue to have the Ocean Drive Promenade Music Series. I was very pleased to have Cortadito last night, and we had the Beach Channel. So we're having a whole episode on the Beach Channel about the Ocean Drive Promenade Music Series. So you'll be seeing that as soon as they put it together. And this is something that we would love for our visitors to come and really take advantage of. It's a free concert every Sunday and very elevated. The musicians are always New World Symphony level. We had Cortadito last night because we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and we will continue. So for the next couple of Sundays, we're going to have more music from Latin roots to entertain. It is right now currently from 6 to 7:30 at 14th across from the Il Villaggio and the Betsy in the middle of the park. We will change times when we change for daylight savings time. We don't want to be too dark in the park, so we'll move it up in time as it gets dark a little bit earlier. And I'm going to close with this. Everybody keeps asking me about the Clevelander and the news at the Clevelander about building a 30-story building that's workforce. I will tell you, and then the Clevelander themselves sent out an Instagram saying, we're still open, we're still partying. The press release that went out is about future plans and intentions. Nobody has pulled a building permit. Nothing has gone through design review. Nothing has gone through the city. This particular proposal will test the new legislation that went through the governor's office on the state level. It actually preempts any city ability to change or not permit or deny the ability for them to do it. But I think it's a test. So this is not started yet. We haven't heard what's going to happen. It is a long range thing. So our beautiful Clevelander remains open for business as a hotel, as one of your favorite places to go and dine, as one of your favorite places to go and listen to great music. So nothing has changed for the short term. And if it does, it will take a long time to get through everything. So that is what I have to tell you on the Clevelander. I know it's on the tip of everybody's tongues. So I just wanted to let you know, right now, it's a wait and see situation.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ceci. Thank you for your informative review. I know we're running a little bit over on time. You have a trivia question for the group?
I have a trivia question, and it's not really going to be easy.
It's going to be a $50 gas card. And remember, we always have Google. Go ahead.
What? Oh, see, you killed me on that one.
Yeah,
What's the address of Architect House?
Oh, that was easy. What was it? 730?
No.
730 Collins? No.
No.
7.
No. Oh my gosh. It's pretty close.
Oh, no,
It's probably the way I said it. Somebody's going to Google it and get it in there.
Exactly.
736.
At 7:30. Oh, 7:36.
Yeah, it's
736.
736.
So Hilda got it. Congratulations, Hilda. You got yourself a $50 gas card. We will reach out to you. All right. Thank you, ladies. Andrew had to jump off the call. Let me real quick. And our next call is going to be October 23rd. Our show notes will be presented later. Thank you, Ceci. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Valerie. Congratulations to our winners, Mila, Katie, and Hilda. In our lines of work, regardless of our discipline, whether it's a concierge, front desk, or sales executive, we have the privilege to celebrate the most joyful moments in our guests' lives, even bring a ray of light in the most difficult moments as well. Most importantly, though, we have an opportunity. We have a responsibility to create magic in a world that desperately needs it. Have a safe and happy month. Do something with intent to impact the lives of someone else. Till next month, everyone. Love all, serve all. Take care. Thank you. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho, and everywhere in between. Miami's a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us.